This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
When I finally heard the words, "Welcome home," it gave me a new perspective on the idea of home. So home to me was my immediate family and the space that we occupied. But when I started to think of home within the context of Burning Man, home expanded to a group of friends that share the life experience that we shared together. It was this social element that was really connected and really open. All of a sudden you can share things with a larger group of people and they would share stuff that was equally as vulnerable with you. I think what heightens the connection possibilities that there's some sort of conscious intention for something and it manifests. Going to Burning Man with people that you spend more and more time with creates a deeper sense of home while you're there. I think everybody wants to connect. We weren't meant to carry on through life alone.
Burning Man is a human experiment where people gather to create a city that is temporary, where people are able to express themselves to their fullest capacity. It doesn't matter who you are, come in. The door is open. I will give you food, I will give you water, I will play with you.
It's about creating community. It's about, if I take care of you, you're gonna take care of me, as opposed to, well, let me go out and get mine and forget about everything and anything else.
There are commandments, I believe is what they're called, right?
Radical self-reliance, radical
self-inclusion.
self-inclusion.
To not only be a spectator of things, but to involve yourself. That's the whole point.
Burning Man encourages and kind of requires everyone to bring it. Bring something and be part of the event. Don't just be a spectator. Whatever the hell you want. Anything you can think of, you can do it.
There's zero inhibitions and people are setting themselves free to express what they wish to see in the world.
It's a fucking party. There's fireworks, there's explosions, all these art cars are gathered around, all their music is blaring, everybody is celebrating like Bacchae style.
Everybody's out there in search of something. It's ironic actually, because you're basically traveling to this completely unreal world to become, you know, who you actually are.
The basis of it is acceptance. Everyone is who they are out there, and that's totally fine with the next person. That's basically how I would like to live my life.
It's a gift community. There's no exchange happening. It's just giving, 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 giving. And if you receive something, great.
Give it not expecting to get anything in return. And if you need anything from someone, just ask. And if they have it, they'll give it to you.
I'm humbled by a lot of the art that I see there, because whether it's in like scale or detail, there's always this through line of like, this person made this for no other reason than to put it here without even their name on it. So that at 4 o'clock in the morning, some idiot can stumble by and be like, holy shit, there's a fucking 70-foot tall grizzly bear. That notion of like, I'm just gonna do this because somebody might enjoy it, I'm just really in awe of people's ability to render their inner selves
It's one of the most creative and artistic places in the world. The minute that you get there, you immediately feel a collective humanity that doesn't exist anywhere else. It's just an overwhelming power that you constantly feel from the minute you get there. It takes months for it to wear off.
People are going to the nth degree to just broaden the experience of other people. It is extremely gratifying to see all of this output just for the community. And I think that happens in the real world too, but it certainly happens in a much more concentrated effort out in northern Nevada.
I think I keep going back because it is just the sheer scale of Burning Man. It's the epitome of human creativity. You know, you gotta see it to believe it, because it's hard to wrap your head around.
Our camp is an interesting mix. Generally, quote, cool, creative white people. You got people who like to talk, people who don't like to talk, you got people who like to party. We have parents who come to our camp. It's a family-friendly event. We have babies at our camp.
Camp has been there for a long time. Folks who are drawn to it tend to be pretty good people.
Sometimes I'll hear people say that we're like a tribe, that like its members are like kind of coming back to and like finding, but really it seems to me that the Yums are a universal input that anything can plug into. So we take all kinds. We embrace people as they are right away. I think there's very few camps that are probably as relaxed as we are.
I think of Yum Camp as like this living, breathing thing. For better or for worse, no one individual seems to be imperative to the survival of this living, breathing thing. Burning Man may have coalesced this group, but it's certainly not its life force anymore.
Who we are and who we have gathered, we seem to have an energy that a lot of camps don't necessarily have. As a general rule, I'd say that we are a pretty amazing group of people from all different walks that really have discovered a good formula for bonding.
We're just a camp that loves to have fun. We're always just joking around, you know, feeding each other if anyone's like hungry, tapping each other's dicks and butts.
I could have never experienced Burning Man, I think, and still gotten everything I've gotten just from the community and the group. I think being able to let go of judgments is an atmosphere that is engendered by the Yums.
Let the beauty of what you love be what you do.
The Yummy is in regards to our Yum Cart, which is a mobile taste bar. Random people can come up and they can give it an idea, a concept, a specific taste, and we will make a 1 spoonful concoction of anything imaginable.
We basically open up this space for sort of this imagination station to happen. We kind of provide this sort of format, and then you get to play within that format.
When someone comes up and asks for a taste, we put it together on a little spoon, and then we ask them to close their eyes and feed them the taste.
You can sample any taste in the universe, from chocolate to childhood to the taste of cosmic scorpion balls. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can ask for pretty much anything and everything.
I remember being out at a party and needing a breather. Somebody breezed by me and said, "Man, you gotta try that taste cart." As I looked out into the darkness, I saw a giant floating tongue. The guy who was at the bar being served said, "Could I have Korean barbecue shrimp?" He like drops down behind the bar and he comes up and he puts a taste into this guy's mouth. And the guy sort of chews it up and says, "Oh my God, that's Korean barbecue shrimp. How did you do that?" The guy behind the bar was like, "Well, we have everything here at the Yum Cart." Then the next day, I head out on a mission. We see the taste wagon. I run right up to these people and I said, "Will you come and share the flavor experience with the kids?" We brought the cart to Kidsville and the kids went absolutely bananas for it. And all of my campmates who hadn't seen it at that point started to understand what was going on, that they had a plethora of foods behind the bar and were combining them to make these flavor moments. All of it was improvised, and it was this fantastical crowd-pleasing experience that was blowing people's minds and bringing them great childlike joy. It's play, it's not too serious, it's kind of lighthearted and fun. And at Burning Man, there's plenty of lighthearted fun. There's not a lot of lighthearted culinary fun.
It's about whether or not what you give somebody sort of meets their expectations. And it's up to you as the tasteologist to have a connection with that person. Like, okay, well, what does this taste like to you? It's a compelling idea just to see whether or not we're completely full of shit or not, which we very well could be. But we don't have a lot of dissatisfied customers. They usually walk out feeling pretty happy with their experience.
It feels like a leap in trust. Someone's hopping up to a cart, has no idea what they're gonna get in their mouth. Sometimes people ask for something silly and warm and light and positive, but people also ask for the shit.
One guy came up and asked me to give him the taste of intolerance, so I gave him a spoonful of salt and hot sauce. He hated it, and I was like, well, you asked for it. Like, what do you want from me?
The guy who asked for his yellow legal pad, and I gave him crunched up saltines and mustard, and he said it tasted like shit, and I was like, don't order that, bro. People who want the shitty taste, as fucked up as that is, they know what they're ordering.
Some of the favorite ones that I gave out this year was a little girl asked me to give her the taste of what it would be like if pets ruled the planet. I also gave someone the signature dish from the northern hemisphere of Mars. You know, some people will come up to the Yum cart and ask for like the taste of hazelnut. But when you get someone who comes up and who's willing to go a little bit deeper, I get to be creative and think about like, what does that mean and what was that experience to that guy?
It's such a reminder, I think, to all of us that we can live lighter, happier, more calm, more goofy.
It's kind of a fantastical experience that I just think is the best. And we've gotten a lot of fans over the years, which is pretty cool.
In your light, I learn how to love. In your beauty, how to make poems. You dance inside my chest where no one sees you, but sometimes I do. And that sight becomes this art.
One thing that helped connect everybody is a thing we do called Circle. Every night we get together, play a game, talk, hang out, and it helps ground the camp and give it more of a family vibe.
You know, I think we all as a group valued specific time to connect. So there was this knowledge of group building activities that fostered a connection and a get to know you. It built trust really fast, it built connection really fast, and everybody was just sort of vibrating on this higher level of like, oh my God, like we can cut the shit. If you want to get right down to the nuts and bolts with somebody right away, like the meaning of life type questions, you can do that. And especially within our friend group, we created that feeling.
It's a really powerful experience the first time you do it because I think most of us aren't used to being heard or seen. And so when you're with like 40 people who are all hearing you and seeing you, it can be overwhelming. My entire life has been about building up walls and keeping people out. When you are able to crack that open, if you have a community of people that are willing to do that, it's a relief. It's like a vitamin, like you need it. And I think a lot of people don't have it.
Anyone that even comes to visit our camp always remembers Circle as being this magical thing that they, haven't experienced anywhere else. Whether you participate or you don't, you can appreciate the intensity and like the rawness.
The time I've had most fun is when I'm with someone who's also awkward and uncomfortable with the Circle, which is usually most people because it's trying to break personal boundaries.
You sort of trust one another with being something that you're not really comfortable with, and in that process of just, trusting one another, you become closer.
It gets woo-woo, it gets touchy-feely, it gets silly, it's all of it.
When you spend years authentically communicating with people that are close to you, and then you go and talk to somebody who is very closed off, I mean, it's like night and day. And you realize like, oh man, this group that I associate myself with and I call my friends really do make this space where you can be seen. I'm just thankful that I have the Yums because your community is what's important. If you have a community of people who support each other, then that's it. All you have to do is work on maintaining that thing.
I really love the temple. It kind of acts as what a lot of religious institutions would serve as, a place to meditate, a place to pray.
You can feel the energy there. it's usually just overwhelming.
The temple is a brutally honest place. I've had insanely personal moments that have been medicine like I never realized that I needed. It's definitely the most therapeutic part of Burning Man.
The power that exists within it is insane. Like when you walk in, there's just an air about it. There are so many different stories happening. There are people chanting, praying, meditating. It is just like thick with feelings.
It's a really valuable space that Burning Man offers. You know, that place of like acceptance and supporting and just whatever you need for as long as you need. I'm sure many would say that we have plenty of that in the real world. I don't think it feels as open and raw and honest as like this feels.
The temple burn is more of the moment where people get to connect maybe more spiritually or let go of whatever they put in the temple. It's a place where a lot of people write goodbye letters to people they've lost. It's generally a pretty serious vibe, so try not to fart.
Every year I like to spend a good amount of time at the temple. I like to think that I'm there as a witness. This intimate community has allowed me, a complete stranger, to see into the insecurities, memories, loves, hates that are in this beautiful structure. It's one of my favorite parts of the burn.
The temple is like an entity all its own. It's alive. And it has an energy about it that I can feel. There's so much processing going on. There's so much healing and releasing. It's palpable energy. It's heavy, it's thick, it's sacred.
The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep.
Whether they realize it or not, they're being drawn to these events because they want to shake off the shackles of the hamster wheel life they live. Now it really does feel like there's an awakening happening. I think people are realizing that what's important is not so complex, it's actually really simple.
Everything just feels more clear out there. Just kind of like brings all the walls down and you just kind of are able to let go. If you go out there with an open heart and an open mind, I think there's no way that you won't transform in some way.
I definitely don't think that the world is going to turn into Burning Man, but I think that the ideas expressed are ideas that if each of us as individuals could take into the world, that the world would be a better place. I think that we're living in a day and age that feels really empty, and the sort of tribal camaraderie of Burning Man speaks to something carnal in us. When you live in a society that's so mind-based and really only values that, you have to go into a completely new plane to discover what other intelligences we all have inside of us. I think going somewhere like Burning Man forces you to learn other ways of being.
Burning Man is such a culture shock at first. You're instantly gonna be thrown off your feet, questioning every move, wondering what you're doing there, and then suddenly you're back in love with it. You know, it's not about blinky lights, it's not about fur, it's about connection. You pay for Burning Man with a blank check and you have no idea what kind of burn you're gonna have. There's just being there and participating. There's just as much to be learned with friends as well as with strangers.
A thought struck me the other day that as long as Burning Man exists, it fails in its mission to change the world. In the context of the default world, Burning Man exists as this shining example of like an alternate configuration of society where not everything is about money and not everything is about who you think you are, but more what you are able to do and provide for people, even if it's a hug or a laugh or anything, right? If Burning Man were to succeed and achieve a world where all of those things were commonplace, then the context would cease to exist and it would no longer be a special thing. So is Burning Man good? Kind of. It's a good example, I think, of the way that the world might be able to work. At some point, we have to figure out, is this just a vacation spot, or are we really trying to be radical, and are we really trying to change the world? If we really want to do that, great. I don't know how to start, but it's not going to involve Instagram models, and it's not going to involve celebrity parties and Elon Musk. I hear a lot about practice, 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 practice. How about we play for once? How about we actually do the thing? I'm practicing inclusivity. Be inclusive, make it obvious. Like, I don't know how you do it. I'm not into marketing. It may take some commodification, but I don't know, man. Fucking Larry's dead, figure it out.
The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind I was. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along.
This is the first day of my life. Swear I was born right in the doorway. Went out in the rain and suddenly everything changed. They're throwing blankets on the beach. Yours is the first face that I saw. Think I was blind before I met you. Don't know who I am, don't know where I've been, but I know where I'd like to go. So I thought I'd let you know. These things take forever. I especially am slow, but I think I really need you, and I wondered if you would come home. Remember the time you drove all night just to meet me in the morning? I thought it was strange, you said everything changed. You felt as if you just woke up. You said this is the first day of my life. I'm glad I didn't die before I met you. I could go anywhere with you, and I would probably be happy. So if you wanna be with me, with these things there's no telling. We'll just have to wait and see. I'd rather be working for a paycheck than waiting to win the lottery. This time is different. I think that you really like me.
Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself.